Hello, greetings, and welcome to this week's video. Um, so a couple of things, as always, to let you know about that are upcoming. One is the Corn Maze on October the 20th. It's from 6 to 10. It's $5. It's a great way to encourage your small group to come and be a part of that. We just need them to sign up so we make sure we have enough transportation. Another thing that's coming up at the end of the month is we're doing an Intro to Crossroads class for teens. Pastor Dave will be teaching it. We're calling it the Youth Edition of Intro to Crossroads. It's October 28th, and it'll be immediately following the 10:45 gathering. Lunch is included, and so encourage your students if they have questions about our church and what we believe and what we're involved in. It's a great way, and it'll be fun. It'll be energetic. It'll be interactive, and Pastor Dave is once again going to teach that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Another thing that's coming up is a meeting potentially Sunday. And so if you are able to be a part of that meeting, small group leader meeting, let me know. We haven't had a whole lot of responses, and so if a few more don't respond, we'll probably postpone the meeting. I understand a lot of people are out of town with break and stuff, but if it works out and we can get a good group of people together, we'll get together. If not, we will postpone it maybe a week, but we do need to get together and talk about retreat and what that looks like. And I hope you all are planning on being a part of retreat. If you could let me know that as well, that would be awesome. November 10th through the 12th, and it'll be good. We need you to be there. It really can't function and work the way that we wanted to without your involvement. And we have a lot of good ideas, and definitely need your support and help to make those things happen. All right, now for last night. Last night we looked at Matthew chapter 5, verses, you know what, I'm going to draw a blank. So let me look at it. Hold on just a second. Yes. Matthew 5, 21 through 24, and then 27 through 30, I believe. And it's the part of the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus looks at them and says, "You've heard it said that you shouldn't murder, but I tell you, you shouldn't even be angry with your brother." And then he goes on to say, if you call your brother or sister Raka, which is the same as stupid idiot or senseless or dumb, or if you say you fool, you're in danger of the fire of hell. Pretty strong statement there. And then he goes on to say, we looked at the part that talks about, you've heard it said, don't commit adultery, but I tell you, don't even lust and don't even look on a woman, because when you've done that, it's like you've committed adultery with her in your heart. And then he goes into this weird saying about gouging out eyes, and it's better to go to live life that go wait for the kingdom with one eye rather than being thrown into the fire of hell. Or if your hand causes you to sin, to cut it off and throw it away. And it's better to go almost maimed, to live maimed, rather than being thrown into hell. So we started last night with the thought of, when you get in trouble when you were a kid and your parents would send you to your room and you were waiting for your beating or spanking or whatever it is, and you're preparing for that and you're putting on extra underwear and you're getting ready, and you hear your parent coming and you're mentally preparing yourself for the spanking or the beating that you're about to get. Beating's such a bad word, but it's just kind of funny. And they come in the room, they sit on your bed next to you, and they say that phrase that is harder to hear. And the phrase is, "I'm so disappointed in you." And so we talked a little bit about how that is almost worse than getting your spanking and getting it over with, and talking about, and all the teens were like, "Yeah, that's awful when they do that, and that's horrible," and we laughed about it and told stories about it. And so we kind of talked about how it's more hurtful to know that somebody's disappointed in you or somebody doesn't believe in you than it is even to take the spanking or get the beating. And so there's something to that. And so I think what Jesus is saying and what Jesus is trying to get at here is that the call to follow him is more than just changing your behavior. It's more than just not killing somebody, but it's how do we look at all people with the attitude and the mind and the heart that says all people are valuable. And it's more than just not physically hurting people. It's actually wanting the best for people, and it's actually living into what it means to follow after him. And so we talked a lot about that maybe what Jesus is saying is kind of like when parents come in, that it's worse on some level for them to look at you and say they're disappointed. And how much more hurtful is it potentially when you hear somebody say, have a negative thought about you, or they're talking about you behind their back, and it's somebody that you thought was your friend, and somebody that you thought was somebody that you could trust, and here they are saying these evil things or these hurtful things, and it hurts and it sticks with us, and it's almost in a sense a way of killing. And so we talked about the importance of our words, and we talked about how if that's the way it feels for me when somebody does it to me, how much more so as a follower of Jesus should I not let those things happen to the people and to my friends and to others and to people who I may not even know. And so the call really was that to follow Jesus, it changes our mind, it changes our eyes and how we see people, it changes our heart and how we are drawn to love the other, and drawn to be for the other, and drawn to truly live into what it means to truly see people and to have a heart for people the way that Jesus did. So it's more than just changing my behavior, because I can change my behavior. People quit smoking and drinking all the time, but it doesn't mean that they think differently, and it doesn't mean they feel differently. It doesn't mean that they see the world differently. And so this call of Jesus is this holistic idea of truly seeing people and seeing others, and realizing that it's not just a behavioral issue, but it really is a transformation of our whole life and everything that we are. And so we also talked about how when we think those things about people, if they're stupid or idiot or dumb, we are making them less than God thinks of them and that God created them to be. That when God looks at them, it's a creature made in his image. And so anything that we would call them less, or anything that we would view them that makes them less than who God views them as, we're making them an object. And so we transferred that over into the whole lust talk, and that what happens when guys and girls look at the members of the opposite sex and turn them and lust after them, we are turning them into an object to be desired and to be exploited for our own desires, rather than looking at them as creatures of God made in his image. And so we're making them less. We're turning them into objects. And I use the music stand, but I can use this rock here. It would be like I'm saying what girls are if guys lust after them, or girls if they lust after guys, is, you know what, you're no better than this rock. You're no better than this object that I can use to weigh down papers or do whatever it is I need to do. You're no better than this. That's the way I view you, as opposed to rather viewing them like God views them. And so that's kind of what we talked about. And I'll close with this quote that I got from Desmond Tutu. And I may try to have it scrolling here at the end. I'll also have it in your notes on the city and also on your papers for Sunday. But it's an awesome quote. And I think I have it here in my Bible, and it goes like this. And it just kind of talks about how it really brings it full circle, and I think it's just a great thing. And it says this: it says, "I'm created by God, who loves me for myself. It has nothing to do with anything extraneous to myself. It is given with who I am. If I am so important and if I am so valuable, then to dismiss myself as unworthy, to say I cannot be forgiven, is to say God makes mistakes, and that I am more powerful than even God." And I do not believe that is true. And so we talked a little bit about how that's easy to believe that God loves us. Well, sometimes it's easy. But we understand, and all the students said they agreed that they knew that God loved them and that he has the power to forgive them. And so then he goes on to say this: "If I am so valuable and loved, then what must also be true is that every other human being is of equal worth, of equal value. And every Christian must have a passionate concern for his or her brother or sister, his or her neighbor. Because to treat any one of these as if they were less than the children of God is to deny the validity of one's own spiritual wholeness." And so the thought and the idea that if I choose to not value others, in essence, what I'm doing is I'm saying that what I really am saying that God doesn't love me either. And so when I choose to belittle or make the others smaller, in essence, what I'm saying is God can't really love me like that either. If I am included in humanity, included in those creatures who are created after God. And so it brings it full circle that if I live a life that I'm continually bringing others down, if I live a life that is continually making others objects lesser than who God has created them to be, in essence, I'm saying that about myself as well, and who I believe God is in my own life, and how I believe God can speak to me in my own life. And so it was a pretty powerful moment for us to say, you know what, me devaluing others and thinking this about others is really saying how I feel about myself and who God is in my own life. And so how do we live, and what does it look like for us to truly value and truly part of this kingdom? Man, this was really long, and I'm sorry, but I'm really passionate about it, and I feel like I just wanted to make sure that you had the full grasp of what we talked about. It was pretty heavy stuff, and pretty deep, and so I really had the kids think through their lives, and I hopefully they'll come ready to discuss how do we value others, and how do we make sure that we're not treating others as objects, but rather as God's creatures, and realize that He loves everybody the same. And how do we not be a part of conversations or rumors, or how do we not be a part of situations or talk in the locker room or whatever the case may be that devalues anybody else and creates them as objects rather than creatures that God has created and destroyed. Oh, one last thing. Man, this is so long. I'm so sorry. We talked about, does Jesus really want us to gouge our eyes out off our hands? And I said, if he did, that's awesome. Let's go get forks and knives and let's start it, because I'm not sure anybody here is going to leave with both eyes if that's what he really wants us to do. And we came to the conclusion he really doesn't want us to do that to ourselves. He doesn't want us to cause bodily harm. But so what is Jesus saying in this thought and this idea? What Jesus is saying is, man, if you wouldn't do that to yourself, how ridiculous is it that somebody would gouge their eye out or cut their own hand off? If you're not willing to cause bodily harm to yourself, then why in the world would you want to hurt somebody else? Why in the world would you do that to somebody else if you're not willing to do it to yourself? All right, that's it. Thanks a lot. We'll see you Sunday. Let me know if you have any questions. If not, peace out. See ya.